Yo, I hope y'all doing well today. It's nice where I'm at, sun out and clear skies. I hope it's nice where you at too. And if it's cold where you at right now, bundle up. But today, the topic I wanted to talk about was give your parents a break. They're people too. Man, when I was growing up as a kid, bro, like, I think, and this is probably not just for me, but for others, but I saw my parents in this light that, like, they are just these perfect beings and they got the answers to everything in life. You know what I mean? For the simple fact that, like, they spent so much time here before I did. So I was just like, they naturally experts at this life thing, and they can teach me the things that I need to be taught and guide me how I need to be guided, you know what I mean? To best navigate the world that we live in. You feel me? And as I got older, I realized that, they don't have all the answers and that they aren't these, quote unquote perfect beings. They make mistakes, and they don't have all the answers to everything in life. You feel me? And at first, it was kind of like, damn. At first, you like, damn, because you went from this light of they're so perfect, they know all the answers, to, oh shit, they don't know all the answers, And you're like, damn, because, you saw them in a certain light. But in that same instance that you seen them in that certain light, you start to realize that you're the one who has to take over and get in the driver's seat about what it is that you want to learn, or, the things that you need to get through in life. So, like, for example, bro, like my parents, they taught me a lot about manners, etc. Right? They sent me to school. I went to good schools. Like, they always had me in good schools. They always made sure, like, that I was in places, I was in schools where I could get the help that I needed if they didn't know how to help me. Because there would be certain times where I'd be bringing home homework and they would have absolutely no clue. And then there would be times where they could help me with certain things. But I had to, like, understand that, like, oh, like, when you a kid, it's almost like you in the passenger seat and your parents is driving your life, because they teaching you all that they know, and you see them in this light of perfectness. You're just trying to follow in their path. You're literally mimicking them as you're a kid. And then as you get older, you start to gain your own identity, and then you hop in the driver's seat and you start to take control of your own life. You feel me? And I'm grateful for what my parents did, sending me to school and whatnot, and because they thought, that was the best thing to do. I can read and write well, but then I look back and there's also certain things that I wish they would have taught me, or school would have taught me. And this is kind of, school is like, I got my thoughts about that. I feel like that's another video, but school is like almost bullshit, bro. Like, unless you're going to college to become something specific, like a surgeon or a blah, blah, blah. If you're trying to go to college figuring out what it is that you want to do, I don't think that's necessarily a good move, but who the fuck am I? But school, I wish, instead of teaching us all the bullshit about fucking social studies and whatever the fuck else, right? Like, it'd be nice to learn about some real world things that we have to experience when we become adults, right? Like the process of buying a car, financing, learning how to save money and invest money, nigga, taxes, the process of buying a house, buying a car. I think I already said that. Nigga, budgeting, like, just things that appear in adult life that essentially get ignored in school as we learn about, I don't know, Christopher Columbus punk ass discovering shit, you know? And it's like, bro, even in itself, like the history, how they start our history, like my melanated folks, they start our history, they tell us we, slaves to begin with. Like y'all just started, y'all timeline start as slaves. They don't teach us about anything else in history. I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but essentially what I'm trying to say, and it's connected though with parents and school, at a point in life, you're gonna have to seek out the information that you want to see or want to learn about for yourself, and you got to accept the fact, even though it's heartbroken it's like heartbreaking that, like, your parents didn't teach you, or your parents, you know what I'm saying? Like they almost bought into the bullshit of like what school is teaching you, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, instead of like the things that we actually need to know in adult life. Even like how to make a resume, or you know what I mean? Like we didn't learn that, or I didn't learn that in school. It was just like reading a bunch of books that we had no choice to pick. And I don't know. Just learning a bunch of shit that like I don't even really use to this day. Aside from obviously reading, writing, some other, reading skills, things like that. But I don't use calculus or geometry right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just certain shit that's like, to me, was pointless. But anyway, back to the parents. Like, I know we see our parents as these perfect beings, but they're people just like us. They make mistakes and they don't have the answers. So you have to seek out the information on your own. And it might be frustrating because it's like, damn, like, y'all niggas almost had a head start. Y'all supposed to set me up for life. Or like y'all supposed to they supposed to like give you the keys so that you can navigate life and not make the same mistakes that they did, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not always the case. And you can't be a victim to that and just be like, well, since my parents didn't teach me, like, that's just where it ends. Like, you got to go out there and seek that information for yourself and give your parents grace, see them where they are actually at, instead of seeing them as these perfect human beings, and that's okay. I had to realize, like, aside from them being my parents, they are also sons, daughters, cousins, nieces, nephews. You know what I mean? They aren't just my parents, right? And outside of all the labels that I just named, they also are their individual selves. They are mom, dad by themselves. You feel me? So I just really wanted to come on here to say that, bro. Just like, forgive your parents. Don't blame your parents. I feel like, my parent, I got one parent that was born out here, and now I got another parent that's not from here, from Jamaica. And them, like my mom coming here and like building a life, that's such a huge step, for like a foreign parent. Like that to them, moving to America as foreign parents is like almost the definition of success. Like, yeah, nigga, we made it because we just made it here. Like, because we made it here, and everything else after that is like a bonus. But I just wanted to say, yeah, man, like, forgive your parents and understand that they are people and that they have their own way of seeing life and going through life, and you kind of just gotta meet them where they are at and just kind of accept that, you know, accept where they are, because no matter how long whoever's been on earth, right, even if they 70, that don't mean that they got it all figured out, you know. And I understood that once I got older, and I learned to just give them the grace and, you know, not be upset or hold any resentment or whatever, because I felt that they should have taught me certain things that they didn't teach me, you know. Like I said, like once I become aware of that, like it's on me to go out and seek the information that I'm seeking. So yeah, bruh, just give your parents a break, because they are people too. Everybody sees the world differently, so just accept the way that they see it, and, you know, don't try to convince them to see life how you see it or things of that nature, because I feel like that's just a huge waste of time trying to, you know, convince someone of your point of view or get them to believe in what you believe in, you know what I mean? It's like, I see things this way, why don't you see it that way? Instead of just being like, you know, I accept the way that you see things like that, and I see things like this. So yeah, man, I think that's pretty much it, bruh. Forgive your folks. Know that they're trying their best. Damn, motorcycle. Sorry, that was loud. Know that they trying their best. And I think they always have our best interests in mind, regardless of how it looks, you know? Like, even though I've been through college and I kind of think it was, you know, a waste of time in a sense, just based off of the education I was learning, not the experience itself. I feel like I just lost my train of thought. I feel like I would have, like, I think it's bullshit. I wouldn't have done it, you know? Or maybe again, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it again. I probably just wanted to focus on what I wanted to focus on. But in the time, my folks thought that was the best decision for me, like the next path. And so did I. Like, I was so on autopilot and kind of just tapped into like, oh, this is what the, you know, society tells you after you graduate high school, you're supposed to go to college, you know? But you know deep in your heart and in your gut whether or not that's for you. So before you go to college or whatever it is that you do, just really think about it from your point of view and your perspective, not what your parents think is best for you. Like, shout out them. But I felt like I could have used that 4 years to save money and focus on other things instead of, like, you know, taking general ed classes and shit. Like, it's, I don't know, bro. Definitely learned some shit. I feel like the only thing that was cool about college in a sense was like, all right, you got to actually pick what the fuck you wanted to learn about, like, later down the line. You know, in high school, you just forced to learn about certain shit. But